Thanks very much. As we mentioned, the president is reacting, and no surprise, it's on Twitter this evening. Sally Yates made the fake media extremely unhappy today. She said nothing but old news. He said, also, quote, the Russia-Trump collusion story is a total hoax. When will this taxpayer-funded charade end? Earlier this evening, I spoke with one lawmaker, Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell, who serves on the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, earlier today on CNN, when asked if you'd seen classified evidence of collusion between Trump campaign associates and Russia, you said yes. There are obviously a lot of things you cannot say. Can you give a general sense of what you've seen that's pointing, in your opinion, to collusion?
Yeah, Anderson, there is evidence of collusion, both on the classified and unclassified side. And my hope is that the world will soon see it. And also, Anderson, I want to be clear that, evidence is, a kind of a collection of documents and testimony and different witness accounts, and it has to be tested, it has to be developed, and it's much different than guilt. So to say you've seen evidence of collusion is also different than saying that somebody is guilty of collusion. It takes time to go from taking evidence to a guilt phase in a trial, or for a country to review a House Intelligence Committee's report and to make their own determinations.
I mean, I guess on the unclassified side, people know about Paul Manafort's history with, in Ukraine, about Roger Stone, allegedly in contact with Gustavert 2.0, Carter Page, and others. Is that basically what you're pointing to as what you see as, evidence?
Well, there's also the evidence of how individuals acted once they were confronted about their prior ties. And in a courtroom, you would call this consciousness of guilt evidence, meaning the only reason you would lie about a fact in an investigation is to cover up something that had occurred in the past. And so we saw that certainly with the Attorney General. He twice was asked about ties to Russia, and twice said he didn't have any contacts with Russia, and then he had to go back and change that account once it became public. We saw the same with Michael Flynn. We've seen that with Jared Kushner, who left his SF-86 security clearance form blank when asked whether he had any foreign contacts, and we have learned that he indeed was meeting with sanctioned Russian banks at the time of the transition. And so, Anderson, again, these are either a lot of coincidences, or there are very good reasons that they didn't want the world to know about their prior ties to Russia.
Your committee has been trying to get former Acting Attorney General Sally Yates to testify in an open setting, as she did today in front of the Senate. I wonder what questions remain for you unanswered in your mind. She, it seems like there's only a limited amount of information she can give in an unclassified setting. What else would you want to learn from her when she appears?
I learned a lot from Sally Yates today as she testified, particularly just how hard she tried to tell the White House about Michael Flynn perhaps being compromised, and just how little that they cared. But I would like to bring her in. I think people want to make sure that the House is doing our own investigation. What I would also like to test and hear from with Sally Yates is other evidence that they had with respect to other officials in the Trump administration, because it does appear that this is a pattern of people on Trump's team who said one thing publicly about contacts with Russia and then did something else privately. And so I would like more time with her to understand that.
Have you set a date for when she might appear?
We've sent an invitation, and we hope, because our hearing was actually supposed to be public, and it was supposed to occur before the Senate's hearing, so we hope that we put that in place, that the world can hear from her. But there's also other witnesses, Anderson, and to show people that our committee is independent, credible, and making progress. I hope when we get back in a few weeks that we are interviewing those witnesses, both publicly and in private.
President Trump tweeted this evening, actually, about the hearing. Quote, Director Clapper reiterated what everybody, including the fake media, already knows. There is no evidence of collusion with Russia and Trump. Is that what you heard from Clapper today?
No, it was very, very disturbing when DNI Clapper laid out the gravity of this attack, that another country violated our sovereignty, and that, from the appearance, they are celebrating and congratulating themselves, to use his words. And what bothers me, Anderson, is that this hearing was on Russia meddling, and over half the members on the Republican side talked about anything but Russian meddling. And so we need to get serious about this. There is evidence not only of collusion, but there's deep, deep evidence that Russia interfered with our election and intend to do it again. And this demands a serious investigation.
Congressman Swalwell, appreciate your time. Thank you.
My pleasure.